and good afternoon. It's a chilly November afternoon and here I am. What a beautiful way to start with such warm and inspiring people. Avnish and Anita are no strangers to the idea of philanthropy, and it is our belief that not just Asians around Britain but all over the world should be inspired to do that, and the legacy that they have to take that forward. I'm not going to waste more time by telling you more about this couple, but just let's delve into the questions. The showrunners for Goyal Foundation and the chair to Hallmark Care Homes. Please join me in welcoming Avnish and Anita Goyal at British Asia News. Welcome, Avnish and Anita. How lovely to have you both here in this beautiful home that you have in London.
Thank you.
I will go straight into asking you about your father, Goyal. Tell me more about him and what is it that you're taking forward from him?
I think, like many Asian children, we didn't really get to know, I didn't really get to know my dad as well as I wish I had done now. And when he passed away 25 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I think, like a lot of children, like a lot of, you only realise how great your parents were, later on in life when you become a parent, when you go through the challenges, struggles, issues and so on and so forth. And then you start to actually realise how great your parents were or are.
Right.
And I think I had that kind of epiphany myself about my dad. My dad was always a very quiet, unassuming man, and he didn't make a lot of the decisions in the house, and that's how he chose to be. But about 10 years ago, I really wanted his name to live on, and also wanted to get into philanthropy, wanted to make a difference, really wanted to give back, but also in terms of our children, they don't have the same struggles. They have different struggles, and I think that you can never take that away, but they have different struggles, but not the same ones. And I felt that setting up a foundation in his name, in his honour, would both honour him for the great work that he did,
right.
But also try to unify the family, the extended family, and get the next generation also, as well as our own growth and my own growth, but as well as really get them to see, by making a difference to other people, how great their lives are.
But Anita, if I could ask you, for him to be thinking this way, it obviously takes you to be partnering in with, that kind of beautiful and the magnificent idea that he's got. Before I ask how involved you are, tell me, how did your and Avnish's paths cross?
Well, we were introduced by a friend, and it was a good time for us both, I think, because we were both understanding our own lives and being on our own and what that was like. So it was the right time, I'd say, for us to meet up, and we got together, and we liked each other. We developed a lovely friendship, and from there our kind of relationship began to become more serious. And Avnish then proposed to me. We got married in 2014, and since then I think it's just been an incredible journey, because our personalities, our temperaments, our compatibility is very, very high, and I think it's just been, our relationship has been incredibly dynamic and great. And I think the most important thing is that we support each other in what we do. So when Avnish asked me to run the foundation, I left my teaching job, which I've been doing for the last 20 years, and that was great, the best decision I ever made. And it's just been amazing, the kind of experiences that I've had and the kind of work and the projects that we've been supporting over the last 5 years that I've been on the team of the Goyal Foundation.
But it's definitely magical, if I may say so, that because you are now the pioneer in running Goyal Foundation more than anybody else is. Am I wrong in saying that?
Yeah. Anita runs so much stuff. I don't often understand some of the things that she's up to until I find out that she's in this direction and that direction, which is great, because you want to have people putting their own flair, passion, ideas into something, and I don't want to be a control freak. I try not to be, and I've got plenty of other things happening, but we do a lot of stuff together. But Anita comes up with so many great ideas. She asks me, should we do this, should we do that, should we know sometimes we must support Battle of Bollywood, for example, and that kind of stuff. I didn't understand why, but we did it, and we had such a great time supporting things like that.
Yeah.
She sees things that I can't see, which I think is a great partnership.
Absolutely.
I see things she can't see, you can't see, and vice versa. And I think we trust each other, and sometimes we don't fully understand it, but we go for it, and then it always works out. Right.
And we, out of all of that, we make things happen together. We, collaboratively, we stand shoulder to shoulder in everything that we do, and we can, really, I think, influence other couples to have that kind of, amazing relationship. I think that we have, that's secure, safe, and enables us to be really, take some great risks as well and do some really wonderful things. Because our philanthropy is not the usual philanthropy of just writing a cheque and donating to a charity. Sometimes it can be that, but we also do have our hand in many different events, and we want to lift other people as we go along with that. So, communicating some of those key messages, such as the work around FGM and menstrual dignity, and the other work that we're involved with the schools, the local schools, and much, much more.
Speaking of next generation, I'm sure you're such an inspiration, not just to people outside, but to people in your own home. You've got 3 children with you, 4, if I can count. When you both met, how did they react to your story? Because obviously, they came from different backgrounds, and for them to come in together as a unit, it takes a lot. It could be a personal question, but it's inspiring, for everybody to kind of have that kind of thought. So tell us about that.
I think we've been really fortunate. Having a blended family of 3 children. I always wanted 3 children. I now have 3, and they are of an age where they're adults now, and they still need lots of guidance and support from us. And they're around us quite a lot, so they live here with us in London, as well as our family home in Essex as well. And I think initially it was a little bit difficult. I think particularly with the change that was going to happen. So myself and my daughter moving in with Avnish, and otherwise the family have all really embraced both sides of the family, the children, and just try and be very open and loving with everybody. So I think the elders in the family really understood the importance of our marriage, of us being together, and they supported us all the way. Our mums have just been phenomenal, absolutely. And I think they've been really key to our relationship with our 3 children, just coming together in such a beautiful way that's been, with harmony and peace.
And I think, these things are never easy, but I think they've been easier than one would have expected. I think partly that's because of our relationship with our children before we got together, and then when you put the new kind of construction together, that becomes easier because we had good relationships with our children, and therefore the influence over the children was strong, and therefore it's just a matter of adjustment. And we now really see we've got 3 children that do what siblings do. They will often have challenges with each other and shout at each other, and that's normal.
Yeah.
We don't consider that as being anything normal of 3 children or grown-up children now.
Yeah.
Just having the usual stuff, but there's a lot of love between them. And I always believe that relationships in any form, whether it's in a blended family, it's a couple, or father-daughter, or father-son, or daughter, mother-daughter, whatever. These are all, happen over time. It's a lifetime of creating that relationship, and one has to have the tolerance, the perseverance, and the vision, I think, and that's what really drives the relationship where it needs to go.
Well, Avnish, coming back to you, I've read about your story from the past, and we've seen what all you went through. You had a lot of struggle before you reached where you are. Is that the struggle that's made you the person, the humble, modest person that you have become?
I think everybody struggles. Nobody, I believe. Some people have less struggle. Some people may have more privilege, etc. But I think everybody has some level of struggle, and I think in terms of everybody's who they are today is because of their past, good or bad. And I always take comfort in the fact that I've learned a lot from many of my struggles. I wouldn't be who I was today if I didn't have those struggles. I don't think anybody wants those struggles when they're in them, but when you are out of those struggles, you actually look and you see that made me a stronger, better person. What did I learn from it? And I wouldn't have what I have if I hadn't gone through those. So I never, people say to me, do you wish it was different, or do you wish these things had never happened to you? I never do that. because I wouldn't be here if those things didn't happen.
Sure.
And they happen for a reason. I don't know what that reason is, but definitely they happen for a reason. And it's a great way of reconciling it to make sure that you feel grateful and have gratitude in your life.
You see, the next generation in Britain, especially in the Asian community, they have had it easy, as I say, and I quote. They don't have the kind of struggles maybe my parents had, or you had, or your parents had. And it is all about how much they value what they receive, you know, from our parents, and how much they can take it forward. How have you kept that value still intact amongst your children, and what is it that you do so that they don't forget where they have come from or where their forefathers have come from?
I think first of all we've got to change the rhetoric and not say that our children have got it easy. First of all, they don't want to hear that, and secondly, it's probably not true. They have it different. I think it's a far more powerful statement because the challenges are different. Yeah. So, you know, they will face things that, you know, we don't know about. And the other part is that we didn't have a lot to look up to, we didn't have, you know, so let me say that in a different way. They have high expectations to live into because of the successes of the first generation.
Sure.
So when we were growing up, we didn't have huge role models, we didn't have huge expectations and targets. Whatever we did was probably better than the people around us, so it was easier. So now, you know, they've got successful parents, successful friends, successful uncles and aunts and so on. So they've got it harder, I think, in some ways, albeit they've got certain privileges and certain entitlements, but then they've got this big gap of what are they going to achieve. So I don't think they've necessarily got it easier, and you know, life is at such a high pace now, they've got to continue to adapt.
Well, I agree with what you said, everything there, Avnish, because you know, through our values, and we've created our family values now, and through that we've created a mission statement, and we've developed that even further by having a family day where, you know, when you've got adult children, it's about how do you secure and safeguard that time that you have together.
Sure.
Because otherwise you're so busy in your lives and in your university, the children, two of the girls are at university, and son is working, and how do you make sure that we come together in a way that's really meaningful, not just like just having a meal together, and having those times protected. And what we do is, with the family day, we combine that with a book club. So we have a book that one of us will choose, we read that for the month or a month and a half, and we come together and we question what we've read, and we lead on some of our learning, and we reflect on how that's impacting our lives now and how that's influencing us. So, and then we continue to revisit our values and our beliefs within our family constitution, our family mission, and we keep coming back to that. And that, I think, really helps us to get through the everyday life that we have through that, bringing, you know, cementing that together. So that's been really great for us, I think, as a family, as a new family.
But tell me, how often do you get different perspectives to the same thing? Because obviously there'll be like different ideas, and how do you you must have various discussions. How do you come back to that point where it's suited to everybody? Because I've seen that in families, it gets very difficult sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we will disagree on things, you know, and that's healthy. Otherwise, if you agree on everything, you know, that's almost not possible anyway. And but generally, we don't fight very much at all. I mean, we'll have crosswords with each other every so often, but the bounce back is very quick. If I've got a strong view about something, you know, I'll push that. If you've got a strong view, you push it. And what we've, I think, learned to do is, you know, we're quite strong-minded, but we also have the ability to flex that, to realise what's really important. So if I feel something really, really important, you know, Anita, you get to see that's really important, and you yield. When I get to see something that's really important for you, I yield. It's rare that I can think of we clash where we just can't reconcile something in a way that it's like, oh my God, there's a blocker here. We can't talk about something anymore now. I don't recall anything like that.
And I think we also understand what the true vision is of the, you know, the greater picture of what we're trying to achieve here. And does that really matter? And if it doesn't really matter, you've got to let it go and let the other person have their way, because it means more to them. So I think it's about how you don't get stuck on things and you move that along, but also, you know, have the discussions around that allow you to be you know, embracing each other's ideas as well, and then you know, coming up with a solution together.
Right.
And I think, you know, in terms of you know, when we come up with things like, let's sit together, let's create our vision for next year, or let's do the book club, or let's talk about our future, etc. Of course, sometimes, you know, the children go, oh, what, Dad, not again, can't we just hang out, can we not just chill, right? That's an obvious, but, you know, I don't don't give up, and, you know, within 10 minutes of us getting around the table, suddenly, you know, we're all on fire again, and we're talking about things and getting excited, and by the end of it, you kind of ask, so how was it? And everyone's really excited.
Yeah.
So what I've learned is that these aren't normal things, these aren't obviously natural things. You have to apply yourself a bit. But when you do, you know, the magic gets created. So, and the kids are getting more and more used to it now, so they're less resistant to it.
Yeah.
We've done it on holiday, and the kids go, oh, Dad, we're on holiday, why do we have to do this? You know, and then we do it. So, like, I'll give you a quick example. We were in Dubai at a friend's wedding last year, and we were having lunch on the Palm, and it was a lovely setting, it was beautiful, sunny, we had shades on and everything. I said, right, guys, over lunch, let's talk about next year. And, you know, the first reaction was, oh, can't we just have lunch? Why do we have to do this? I said, come on, trust me, let's turn this ordinary lunch within a lovely setting into something really extraordinary. And we did, and it was phenomenal. And then from that, we then went back and set our goals for the year, and so on. And then out of that came the book club idea, and then all the magic happened. So yeah, if you're committed to something, you have to, in the face of a little bit of resistance, you have to kind of push through that, and the results come.
Moving on to my, I'm going to move on from the children and the family setup a little. If not this way, how had you imagined your lives to be?
Shall I go first?
You can go first, yeah.
Okay. It's a really difficult question, I think, in terms of, you know, if you look at, you know, 10, 15, 20, 25, could I imagine I'd be sitting here with the kind of life and lifestyle that I have? You know, probably not, if I'm honest. I probably didn't have the ability to visualize that far ahead. So I think, you know, visions usually are only, like, you can only visualize often something like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ahead, because what you achieve in 15, 20 is far beyond what you could have ever imagined then.
Right.
You know, so I don't think I ever imagined it could be this good, this great in terms of the influence, in terms of being married to this extraordinary lady, having 3 kids. I always wanted 3 kids as well. So, you know, life sometimes, you know, a famous man that I have a lot of respect for once said, you know, it's not God's it's not God's denials, it's God's delays. So it's not you're never going to get it, it's just not right now. And it's just, can you be with not right now, just keep going for it, and one day you realise it. And I think that's true for most of us. If we keep trying, that perseverance, you know, using that strength and resilience, you will get there. In fact, I was just talking to our son this morning before this interview, and just going through all of that. He's at a turning point in his life. He wants to see what's next for him, and I was just going through and coaching him through the next stage of his life. And I feel quite privileged that, you know, we have that kind of relationship where, you know, our children will sit and say, help, what do we do next, give us some support, and we have that ability to coach them, which, you know, not all parents have. So absolutely, could never have pictured all of this, but each time I refresh my vision for the next 3, 4, 5 years, and I'm not sure if everyone else is like that. What about you?
Yeah, I think often you can, or I find it, certainly in my life, is you can overestimate what you're going to achieve in a year, but totally underestimate what you can achieve in a lifetime. And I think if you revisit your goals, or you revisit your vision every single year, you know, through one of the seminars that we do every year at the beginning of the year. In fact, our next one is on the 12th of January 2020. And we come together with a group of people, maybe 100, 150 people, and we all look at our goals and really think about what is it that we really want. And more importantly, why do we want that? Why is it an absolute must that we must achieve that goal? You know, what would it do for you? And ways in which you do that. And through the vision boards, I think that it helps you to kind of cement some of those and visually see where you're going. And your activities, your daily activities, should really support what your vision is. So that everything you're doing, okay, is this part of my vision? Is this part of my goal? What am I doing? Is it going to help me? Is it going to propel me towards achieving my goal? So I have been doing that kind of stuff for a number of years now.
Right.
And I think naturally I've been quite a visionary person. So I'd imagine how my life would be, and I've been doing that ever since I was a teenager. And sometimes, like you say, it's God's not God's denials, but God's delays. And eventually, those things that you've been thinking about will come into your life because the desire is so strong, and you'll see those opportunities because you know what you want. And when they come your way, you'll grab them. Yeah. And you'll make something of your life in that way. And sometimes things don't come to you when you want them, but eventually I found in my life that they do eventually come. Yeah. All that thinking does end up coming to you.
I mean, I think this is the perfect spot for me to ask my next question, which is, you are the pioneer in making a change in the world. What is it that inspires you to be so inspiring?
I think I get so inspired by the incredible work that NGOs are doing across the world, and I see what they're doing, and I see the global inequalities that there are. That really makes me angry, and I think, why is that happening? I'm always questioning. Whereas before, I used to accept the status quo way back, and I think, no, question, why is that happening? What can we do more as to help humanity, and especially in the sphere of influence I can have? How do I bring more people on board to see that this is not right? And I think there's just so much to do, and sometimes I do get overwhelmed. And I think, okay, how do I fit into this? What's my role? And what can I do? Without getting too exhausted and overwhelmed. And yeah, I just feel that even if we can just make a tiny dent in the world, then that's good. That's great. So do it, don't stop. Even if you can't change the entire world or an entire situation, or you can start to be part of that change.
There's a lot that needs to be done with the change in the world. I mean, and you have a full-fledged family business that you're running, Hallmark Care Homes. How do you find the time to balance those two out for yourself? Or is it a partnership that you both run into?
Yeah, so obviously, one of the challenges we have is we can't say no to a lot of things. So we get ourselves into more and more things and then run around trying to make those happen, and hopefully we kind of just about pull it off most of the time. So in terms of the business, I always struggle just to do one thing. My profile and my personality is that I can't stick just with one thing. I have to have my kind of finger in lots of pies and be doing, to keep life interesting, be doing lots of different things. And then it's about how to make all of that happen. Because I don't want to be amazing at one thing and not anything else. I'd rather be really good at lots of things than amazing at just one thing for me. And in terms of the business, my brother now runs Hallmark Care Home, so I've managed to be in a role where I'm not full-time there, albeit I'm now studied in a new venture called Savista Developments, where we're building our own care homes, so that's keeping me fairly busy, but it's something that I'm really passionate about. I love construction, love building these wonderful care homes that we're building for older people. So, when you wake up and you want to do the kind of the job or the role, it doesn't feel like work anyway.
Avnish, can I be cheeky and ask you, who is the man behind that face? Is that how you are, or is it somebody else behind closed doors or behind the camera?
No, I think one thing I've learned over the last 20 years, and I did a great program called the Landmark Forum, and and it taught me a lot of things. One was to be the same person everywhere in the world. Otherwise, if you end up having 4 or 5 different personalities, you have to constantly remember how you're going to show up in the different environments. And eventually, what if you put all those 5 people together, who would you be? You'd be screwed, basically. You'd be like, oh my God, do I be like a father figure? Do I be this figure? Do I be a businessman? Do I be this, that, and the other? So what I've learned is to be one person. So you can put everybody in a room and I just show up as me. And I think that's far healthier. It requires a lot less energy and a lot less distress and everything else. So, what you see is what you get. I'm the same person in pretty much every environment, and I learned some of this stuff from other people. I think that's naturally who I am anyway, but that definitely was reinforced by a lot of role models, including one that I have a lot of respect for, and that's Tony Robbins.
I don't know, I'm really inspired by just the two of you sitting right here. And because you both are so heavily involved with the social work and, at events, and I mean, in my opinion, the past few decades we've seen a major rise in successful Asians, not just in Britain, all over the world. And suddenly the world is now adapting that, people can be from that subcontinent and can be doing very well. What are your thoughts on how the world is adapting to that change? And suddenly you can see Lily Singh, say, for example, opening her own night show, chat show, and she will talk about whatever she wants to. And it's not a taboo anymore. It's not something that, oh my God, how can a brown person, say, for example, take the lead? What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think that we're really fortunate because, first of all, Britain has given us so many opportunities to be whoever we want to be, in that we can explore, whatever our passion is, we can follow that, we can do that, we can create a business out of it, we can, do some philanthropy around that, we can do so diverse. But I just also want to add something with what Avnish said. It's about skillful cultural navigation. It was something I heard at a great EY talk, a panel discussion that was going on, and one of the speakers shared that that's something that she's learned, and I thought that's exactly what I've been doing all my life, is skillfully looking at all the different cultures that I'm exposed to, and navigating my way through that, and how to be in your almost like your different faces that you show up, how you show up in those different areas, because I believe it can't be the same all the time. I think you should be able to show certain characteristics in one role and then a different characteristics in another role. And
that's what you've done in your book. We must
talk
about that, because that's exactly what you've done with the book. And obviously you highlighted the stature of women in the book. Please tell us a little bit about that.
So I think the book celebrates women firstly. That's the most important thing, and the book was done really to share the diversity that exists with our Punjabi women. So it's called Voices from Punjab, and you're my co-author, Asta. So to celebrate you as well, and helping you along your journey of journalism as well. And I think what I wanted to do was to be able to capture these really intriguing stories about how women have become who they are today. And I am certain that the general theme in that book is that they have managed to, through their lifetime and experience, is skillfully, culturally navigate themselves in all the different things that they've been exposed to. And Britain has allowed them to become the women that they have, because they've had many opportunities, as well as the adversity, of course, which we talk about in the book, with the family dynamics, with the racism, with the gender inequalities that they've mentioned and talk about, not only in India, in Punjab, but also here in the UK as well. Right. So I think it covers a whole theme of different aspects of Punjabi women's lives, who are now contributing in such an incredible way within the British society. So I think that all the way we've got to look at this book as a celebration of these unique, incredible women.
And you're a major part of this journey, I hear, by supporting her.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an incredible journey of, seeing the women come, being interviewed, reading a few of the transcripts. I didn't read too many because I wanted to read it within the book, but just seeing the impact of the relationships that both of you, because you've both been involved in the book, have built with these 15 women, some of whom obviously you knew before, but some who you didn't know before, and they've become very good friends. I think, being an author, I'm hoping to get my book out next year. I'm so envious of both of you. When I see the book, I'm like, oh my God, I'm watching you open the boxes and take the books out. I'm hoping that day will come for me one day soon, and it's inspired me to do it. And I think that's the key, inspired. It's all about inspiration. It's about how does one inspire somebody else, and that's what I've been doing in my life. And you're talking earlier about why are Asians doing so well in the UK. I think a lot of it is about inspiration. So the first generation they had a lot to prove, so they worked hard. They pushed the next generation. So the next generation are working hard because they're now trying to prove in many ways what they can do. And the other thing that I think that we do very well as Asians, we model, we see what others are doing, and we get driven by other people's success in a way that, first of all, I think we share, not everyone, it's not universal, but we share a lot of our success in terms of how we did it. We're willing to open up ideas and so on. And that really helps. And I think we're motivated by other people's successes to do well too. And I hope that this book will have a similar impact on not just women, but obviously it's about women, but everyone can take. And you don't have to Punjabi to get benefit from it. And obviously looking forward to your follow-up books, Voices from Gujarat and Voices from Rajasthan as well. But the stories are all going to be about adversity, dealing with that adversity and how through strength and resilience. I've been reading the book. I know how through strength and resilience people overcome those and how they move forward. And I think they're the things that are going to, when people read those, what you automatically do, you relate to elements of the book and you say, right, if that person can do that, so can I. Or that person I can connect with because I can feel their pain too. And they got through it, therefore I can get through it. So in so many ways, and you have no idea how much impact this book's going to have, but I can tell you it's already having a massive impact for the feedback that I'm getting, and it's going to continue to have a huge impact. And this is the start of both your journeys in terms of being authors and what that's going to lead to. It's going to be phenomenal. So I'm turning it back to you.
I'm going to actually ask you, and how's the journey been for you with Voices from Punjab?
Wow, this was not expected to turn this around. I mean, for me it was a dream come true. I did not want anything else but to see, to connect with so many women from different era, from different backgrounds, from different thoughts, different perspectives. So for me to combine everything together and write this, help you write the book, it just opened up a fresh, outlook to life. I was just not me. I think I started climbing ladders of what I could do. And, for me, the sky was the limit after this. So yeah, I think I changed as a person. My life changed more than anything. So yes, I could not thank you both enough for giving me this opportunity. Oh, well, on that note, thank you so much for joining me at British Asia News. And I think we've covered quite a lot of how you both kind of came about and how inspiring you are, not just to me, but to people out there, especially the British Asians, who need to see what you two are on. And if I may say so, if you can join them on this journey, please do contact them at their website, avnishandanita.com. Get in touch, help them, let them be your guide in helping change the world. Thank you for joining us.